Yeah.
When it rains, it pours.
Yes. I
Oh,
like the New Jersey Monthly cover.
Yeah, we're going to ask you about that.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Just we're waiting to go live. That's all, which should be any second. Just make sure.
hey, just as a sidebar, I might be under a tornado tornado warning. So if
Really?
you see me dive off the screen, I'm cowering in the basement with my dog.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. I show you live, Ryan, on I got you
Where
live.
are you, Ryan?
I'm 60 miles due west of Chicago, so Midwest.
Got it.
But I spend an awful lot of time going back and forth to the Jersey Shore, and
Cool.
All right. I think
I'm
we're
on the cafe. I'm on the Spring Nuts now. I'm going to the cafe, and then we are off and running.
Okay. So you're on all right, so you're on both.
All right, we're good.
Just give me a second and I'm getting on you. So just to make I could watch it from here as well. Yep, I see you. Okay. Okay. Let's just wait for people to jump on.
Danny, I have to say that this shirt I have, obviously you know this shirt,
Mhm.
it's like the softest t-shirt I've ever had. I was like, I gotta have it. It's so soft, great picture,
Great.
primo stuff.
Love it. Thank you.
Okay.
Representing.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I only have one other style shirt other than this, and it's a spring nuts on it. No one's gonna recognize me now. Okay, looks like we're good.
all right. We're good, Howie.
Okay, we're good. Okay. I want to welcome everyone to another edition to the Spring Nut Cafe. Tonight, we have to keep raising the bar every time we go on, we do one of these shows. And this is just so you know, this is show number 35. Okay,
Wow.
number 35, and it's only getting better. So today, special guest, he's been someone that we all know and love. There's no question. We call him the King of Kingsley, the Prince of Photography. I came up with that earlier. And definitely one hell of a guy. And just so honored and pleased to have him here, Mr. Danny Clinch.
Happy to be here.
All right, and obviously everyone, Mr. Ryan Hilligoss, the captain at the helm, my beautiful sidekick Julie Chaz, and the prince and the pride of Ocean Grove, Mr. Stan Goldstein. So, with that in mind, thank you, Jenny, for joining us, and I'm going to hand it over to Ryan.
Danny, thank you for coming on. This is truly a pleasure for me. I've had a couple chances to talk to you just very briefly, and you've always been very kind with everybody that runs into you, whether the gallery or out in public or in a convention center. So thank you for that. Just as a segue, I have a prized possession. You can't see it, but I have a wall of posters and concert stuff and music stuff. One of my prized possessions I got at the gallery. It's a picture that you took of Bruce and Steve Earle, who are my two guys, at the John Henry benefit a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
great picture, great
Love
picture.
that. I love that moment.
They're both smiling. I can't show it, but they're both smiling. They're obviously having a good time. They're shooting the shit, whatever they're doing before the show.
Nice.
So the last time I saw you was at Light of Day, and it was a little awkward for you in the fact that you had performed with a couple groups and you were done with musician mode. You went to photography mode when Bruce came out, and then all of a sudden during Pink Cadillac, hey Danny, get up here. And like I could tell you were like, I think you had two cameras, you're trying to figure out what harp you have, your
Yeah.
cameras, what you're doing, so you had to switch from photographer mode to musician mode really quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was Johnny 99, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Uh yeah, I had played on Pink Cadillac, I think, and then I was back into photography mode and Bruce like broke things down, and at some point he had said, Danny, what we're in C, or we're in C, and you got anything other than film in your pocket? Something like that. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then of course, I had the proper harmonica, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's great. Glad I have the right harmonica. So
Um,
it's
uh,
always a treat. There's no doubt about it. It's not lost on me.
it was a great night. I'll actually be at the gallery on Sunday to see our friend Alexandra. Stan and our friends Alexandra
Oh,
is
yeah,
playing at the show
cool.
on Sunday, so I'll be there.
Cool.
All right. So, for those of you that don't, I mean, most of you do know who Danny is, obviously, for obvious reasons. But for anybody that doesn't know, people have probably seen your work thousands of times, and they don't even know that they're seeing some of your work. We'd like to get to know you a little bit. So, if you could kind of tell us about your background as far as like where you grew up, your family, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm. I grew up in Toms River, New Jersey. I always loved art and music. Um, my first musical memory was my mom was a nurse and she was getting ready for work. And I recall hearing Hey Jude on the radio. I don't know how young I was, but I was very, very young, probably 2 or something like that. And I just always loved music and art. And my mom was always taking photographs. Um, and it turned out that my grandfathers on both sides also took photographs.
Hmm.
And it was, I guess, meant to be. And my dad was a house painter, and he held as many jobs as he needed to put food on the table for us. And he told me that, whatever I wanted to do, he didn't get a good education. And he always regretted it. And he told me that if he, whatever I wanted to do, he would support me. So at a certain point, I just got into photography and started sneaking my camera into shows and that, and like really, really loved it. And I went to a photographic workshop called Ansel Adams Gallery Workshops. It was in Yosemite at the time, and the instructors were Annie Leibovitz and
Hmm.
David Hockney, who was at the time he's an artist. He also was photographing at that time. He did a book on of Polaroids and collages that he had done, and I couldn't believe the two of them were doing this workshop. And I went out there, and um, my goal was to, connect with Annie as much as I could. And her assistant at the time, a guy named Dave Rose, and I kind of hit it off. And I was cutting some of the other classes to go to Annie's classes. And the long story short was she invited me to intern at her studio um, in New York City. And I was just kind of blown away by the opportunity and the ask. And I was like, absolutely. And my goal after that was to go to California and try and, you know, link up with some of my other photographic heroes. And at the time, I didn't really need to because I had just secured myself a job, at the bottom of the totem pole at Annie Leibovitz studio. And so I started working there, and it was a great gig. She's really driven and a great photographer, still one of my favorites to this day. And Bruce had a record that was coming out called Tunnel of Love, and I was working for Annie, and she was hired to do the photographs for the record. And we got the cassette before anyone else so that Annie could hear it, could hear the record. And so they were playing it in the studio all the time. I felt like the luckiest guy in the world. I was so excited to go to, help her out on this gig. And I remember her going to the other assistant and said, like, yeah, I don't know if we should take Danny on this job. Like, he's from New Jersey. And, if we take, he might freak out if he's around Bruce Springsteen. And I was like, no way, man, I can keep my cool. Don't worry about it. And long story short, I ended up going on the job. And uh, at a certain point in the gig, we shot him for like 3 days. It was like 3 days with Bruce Springsteen. It was incredible. And he was so kind. He sat next to us at lunch and was just like, I was like, wow, this guy is really all that. And we were out at Sandy Hook with the Cadillac, and Bruce had the bolo tie and the cowboy boots and all that. And the stylist was said,
So I started
working there, and it was what? Oh,
Sorry, Danny. It was background noise.
oh,
Sorry. Go
oh,
ahead.
cool. So he was there with the bolo tie and the cowboy boots, and And the stylist looked around and said, I just don't have the right belt. Does anybody have a belt that like is, could work and with the outfit he's wearing? And I had like a cowboy style, belt with like a little details and whatnot on the belt buckle. And she was like, "That's it. Let me use your belt." And I was like, "Sure." I gave her the belt, and Bruce put it on, and she shot that part of the shoot, and everything, and we did like thousands of photos, 100 different locations. Anyway, I get back, shoots over. It went fantastic. Of course, Bruce tried to drive away with my belt, and I had to chase him down. I was like, "Yo, I need my belt back." And so I was like, my pants are falling down, And so anyway, I got my belt back. The day ends, the shoot ends. I don't know, a couple months go by because they're got to make the record, and someone says, "Oh, go down to the car. Annie's out front. She's got a couple of boxes she needs to bring up, and whatever." So I go down to the car, and she pops the trunk of the Lincoln Town car that drove her to her studio, and she's like, "Oh, can you carry this box of records? This is the new Springsteen record." And I look down, and there's the shot of Bruce wearing my belt, leaning against the Cadillac.
Whoa.
And I was like, "Oh, jam!" And I brought it up, and so anyway, that's a little sort of segue to the longer story. But that was my first time I met Bruce and my introduction to him. Of course, I had snuck my camera into shows earlier before that to photograph him, and so that was really exciting. And then I worked for a bunch of other photographers after that because Annie was so respected. I got a lot of gigs working with other really good photographers, including my friend Timothy White, who I think is in the Hall of Fame, New Jersey Hall of Fame, maybe. But a great guy and a mentor to me. Um, and then had a friend of mine that I had met actually through Annie. It was one of the other assistants' friends who got a job at Spin magazine, and I started to get assignments. When I finished assisting after 4 or 5 years, I was able to start my own business and try to get work on my own. And I ended up doing a shoot for Spin magazine with a band called Third Base, which was a hip hop band in the 90s. MC Search, who was one of the guys in Third Base, and we really hit it off. And I did the shoot for Spin. I was very happy with it. And he told me that he had a guy he was working with that he was signing to helping get signed to Sony Records. And he wanted me to do the record. He thought that my style of photography would work really well. And it was Nas. It was the first Nas record, Illmatic, which is a legendary hip hop record and always in the top 3 of people's favorite hip hop records of all time. And so that was really a big help for me. And I started to use that work to get in with Def Jam Records, who was doing a lot of hip hop in the early days. I met Steve Carr and Say Adams, and those guys are still my friends to this day. We were all young. We were in our early 20s. They were working at Def Jam because Def Jam was young people, started that company. A lot of the older photographers weren't interested in hip hop, thinking it was a fad. And so I got a lot of work with them. And that work that I did, in the hip hop community transferred very well to bands like Jane's Addiction and the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Pearl Jam. All these bands loved Public Enemy. They loved LL Cool J. They loved hip hop. And so when I was able to show that work to them, they were pretty excited about it. And I often got jobs because people were like, "Oh, wow, you worked with Public Enemy? Like, this is fantastic." So, so that helped me get into like the indie rock scene, and it's all about relationships. So I worked really hard on my relationships with everybody, from not only the artists but the publicists and the managers and the art directors for different magazines. I was shooting for Rolling Stone and Spin and Entertainment Weekly and that sort of stuff, and those all just opened a lot of doors for me, and I just was on my way to photographing a lot of the people that I loved. And, felt really fortunate that I, was around and alive when those bands were around. And then also people like Willie Nelson and Tony Bennett and Johnny Cash were people that I also photographed in the early part of my career. And those folks are, certainly Tony Bennett's gone and Johnny Cash. And, it really is, I'm most proud of the fact that, of the diversity in the work that I have been able to do and not been pigeonholed into one sort of genre of music, because I love all genres of music. So,
With
that-
Johnny on the shot of you that you took of him that's on the cover of the one of the Rubin albums,
yeah,
is just a perfect shot, black and white,
Mhm.
which fits Johnny, but he's looking down like the crowd's waiting, but he doesn't know what kind of reaction he's going to get. Like, you captured him perfectly with that shot and what was going through him at that moment.
yeah, yeah. I had gotten to photograph Johnny Cash for this acoustic guitar magazine, and I was shooting him for the cover. So a lot of the images I did were very posed portraits, looking at the camera type stuff, and it was great. And he was so cool, and my whole family are huge Johnny Cash fans. It was a real exciting time for me, and and I asked him afterwards, I said, hey, would you mind if I hung around for the show and, followed you to the stage and that? And he was like, yeah, of course. So I did. And there was that moment, as you described, where he's just by himself getting ready to hit the stage. His hype man was up there talking about Johnny Cash and the Man in Black and all that stuff. And he was just waiting to hit the stage. And what had happened was I was so excited down the road when Rick Rubin made these Johnny Cash records that I had gotten to know Rick Rubin through the Beastie Boys. And I sent him that photograph as a gift. And I just said, hey, I really appreciate you, telling the world how great Johnny Cash is, and like really helping him get back into the world's eyes and ears. And he would thank me, and they started the next Johnny Cash record with Rick, and everybody was saying they were going to call the record Solitary Man, and they had that photograph up in the studio. People would walk by the studio and say, well, if you're calling this Solitary Man, this is the photograph you got to use.
Mm.
So they did, and I'm like really grateful that I have a Johnny Cash album cover.
It's perfect. And one of my other prized possessions over here to my right is the John Prine's last album, Tree of Forgiveness.
Yeah.
You took that shot. Great shot.
Thank you.
John had serious health issues for a long time. I think he kind of knew that things might happen at some point. I don't think he was expecting what happened with COVID, but I think he knew that he'd had a good life. But it just captured the rawness of him, the way he looked, his puffy face. Like, it just perfectly captured John and who John was as a songwriter and as a person. Very humble, very down to earth, but eloquent.
One of my favorite people and musicians. Really, it was fantastic. I was spent a lot of time with him. It was a great shoot. His wife Fiona was on the shoot with us, and we had a great hang. We ended up in a little jam at the end. I broke out my harmonica, and me and John having a little jam. He was calling me Peekaboo Productions. I was like, I'm going to take that if you don't mind. He was like, it's all yours, Danny.
There you go.
He could do productions. I love it.
Peekaboo.
Yeah, his wife Fiona is a great woman. He lived a hard life, and he found her over in Ireland, and she was the love of his life. She was perfect for him.
Sure.
So I have one picture I wanted to show for everybody, and then I just want you to set this up if you don't mind. So just let me share my screen with you for a minute. All right. So can you guys see that?
Mhm.
All right. So Danny, please set this up for us with the story and the background on this, please.
Oh yeah. Well, the man on the left is my father.
Hmm.
And
Whose
the
name
man,
was? What's his name?
Max.
Max. Okay.
Clinch. Yeah. And the guy on the right is my good friend Bruce Springsteen. And I don't know, I look at this photo, it really makes me smile. You know, these guys, my dad was from Allenwood, Wall Township, right next to Freehold, a couple of years older than Bruce. And well, yeah, many couple of years older than Bruce, but they they had not met, and sorry, my dog is barking. I'm going to start this over again, but anyway, my dad on the left, Bruce on the right. I had put a show up. Bruce had just turned 60, and I did a show in Asbury Park. My friend Tim Donnelly and I, who's my partner at See Here Now, one of them, he and I came up with this idea. Let's do a show on the boardwalk, because you could all the storefronts were empty. It was a yoga studio at the time, and we asked if we could use the space for a month, and they were like, yeah, sure, you know. And so I did all photographs of Bruce in New Jersey. That was the idea. So we hung this show. We had a little party. I invited Bruce. He said, "Oh, I'm going to come. We're really going to try to come to the opening. I'd love to see it." And then he called me during the opening, which was really kind. And he just called me and he said, "Hey, you know, I something came up and I can't make it, but I want you to know I'm thinking of you." And I really appreciated that. And I would let him know every now and again if we were having a little gathering at the gallery. And we were about to take the show down. And my dad, who's a house painter, you know, came up to make sure that we left the walls in the shape that we had, you know, found them in. And I called Bruce and said, "Hey, you know, we're taking the show down. I know you really wanted to see it. My dad's up here. You know, we're just kind of, you know, we'll leave it up if you can make it over here, you know, in the next few hours or whatever." And he was like, "Oh yeah, you know what? Patty and I are going to ride over. We're going to come over and check out the show. We want to see it." So, you know, we took the photos down and put them on the floor, you know, leaned them against the wall and started spackling and stuff. We were just sure if he was going to make it or not. And so he and Patty pull up in this Hudson, beautiful Hudson. That's Patty's car. And they come in and they see the show, and they're just so nice and friendly, and you know, kind to my dad and my friend and I. Tim Donnelly was there as well. And I think we gave him a cupcake for his birthday, if I remember correctly. And then, so my dad says to Patty, like, "Wow, what a nice car. You know, I had a Hudson, you know, I had a 52 Hudson, you know, back when I was a kid." And she was like, "Oh, well, this one's really beautiful. You should take it for a ride." My dad's like, no, I don't want to drive your car. You know, this thing was like beautiful and really mint." And she's like, "Oh, well, you know," and Patty kept trying to find a way to get him to drive it. You know, she was like, "You know, there's a shimmy in the steering wheel. Maybe you could tell me, since you have a lot of old cars, like, you know." And then Bruce is like, "Max, you know, you can't hurt this car. Come on, let's go out and have a look at the car." So we all go out, and we're looking at the car, and my dad's just eyes are bugging out of his head. You know, he was a real greaser, a real kind of a guy who had a lot of cars when he was growing up as a kid, and when I was a kid, many cars. Um, and Bruce just takes the keys and like stuffs them in my dad's hands. He's like, "We're driving this car. You're gonna drive this car." My dad, "Oh, geez, right?" So they get in the car, and I turn around to grab my cameras, which were like in a little camera bag that were sitting at my feet while we were looking at the car. And sure enough, they start the car up, vroom, and they take off, and they leave me on the side of the road, me and Patty and my buddy Tim, and we're like, "Oh, damn, I wanted to get in on this ride, you know?" And so they took off and cruised around Asbury Park. And you know, my dad later told me that they talked about where they used to shop for clothes. There was like one place that was really popular back when they were kids, where all the kids bought their school clothes in Asbury Park. And they talked about riding the carousel and grabbing the gold ring and keeping it in their pocket, and instead of trading it in for the best pair, so that they could give it to their girlfriends at the time.
Wow.
And they had so much in common. It was such a really great conversation, my dad said. And so they circle back around and they they pull up to the to where we were, and Patty and I are waiting, and my dad looks at us and he goes, "Wow, I love Asbury Park. Everybody's waving to me." You know? And we all got the joke, and then Patty was like, "Bruce, let Danny jump in the back of the car. He wants to go for a little spin with you guys." So I hopped in, and we pulled up to this stop sign, and now this is 4th and Kingsley, right? So
Yeah.
over there is the Baronet and the Asbury Lanes, or whatever's over there, and to the right is Transparent Clinch Gallery that wasn't even a thought yet.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the irony of that fact that we pulled up and stopped at that stop sign,
Mm.
and now my studio is
Yeah.
the gallery is right there between 5th and 4th on Kingsley, is like really crazy.
That is funny.
And the Baronet is gone, and the fast lane was there at the time, or the building. Yeah, that's gone too now.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. So
Great shot.
yeah, and I showed the photograph to Bruce, and he was like, "I love this photograph." He was, "Would you please make one for me? I
Wow.
really, I want to have one of these." He's like, "Look at these two guys. These two guys are ready to go anywhere." And I was like, "Yeah, it's like a Bruce Springsteen song." I thought to myself, And an interesting thing, I've actually told Bruce this story, that a lot of the songs that he's written, feel like they were about my dad or someone like my dad. My dad grew up on the other side of the tracks. He didn't have much growing up. He had 6 brothers and sisters. He started his own lawn mowing service when he was just not even a teenager, and he was a leather jacket wearing greaser character. And you think about growing up, and you think about racing in the streets, and all those songs that just remind me of my dad. And I remember when they did The Darkness on the Edge of Town in the carousel, and I was there, and I always said to myself, racing in the streets was like a song that could have been written about my father. And I said, the only difference is, is it, 69 Chevy was the car that he name checks, but my dad had a 32 Ford. And I always was like, that would be a song about my dad if it was a 32 Ford. And when he played the song in the carousel, at least during sound check, he put that the lyric he put in there was, "I got a 32 Ford,"
Wow.
That's
Wow.
And I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy." So I could go on and on and on about this whole thing, but since I'm sure there are other questions.
There's an autographed copy of that by Bruce in gallery, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then Bruce signed one for myself. I gave him one. He kept one, signed one for me, signed one for my dad.
I love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Really beautiful.
Danny, so it sounded like you kind of sought out Annie, going to that conference.
Sure.
Were you intending, like, was your goal to get into the music side of photography, or was
Definitely.
that pure? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. The celebrity music space, I just love music, and I've done a lot. I've done quite a few just sort of celebrity shoots as well, and I like it. And I also worked for a legendary fashion photographer named Stephen Meisel. I worked for Mary Ellen Mark, who is also a legendary documentary photographer. And if you put those, that group of people together, it's a pretty awesome, education. And I took what I could from each one of them that suited my personality. Like I thought I wanted to be Annie Leibovitz, and I realized, well, I'm never going to be Annie Leibovitz. I'm going to be Danny Clinch. So I took a little bit from everyone, including my friend Timothy White, and just tried to, see where I could go with it. I knew I wasn't going to do fashion so much, because fashion was, it was I don't know. I just didn't really gravitate towards it, but I gravitated towards music, and that's where. And I wasn't even really playing music when I first started. Um, you know, my photography career. I mean, I might have had a harmonica kicking around somewhere in my house, but I wasn't really playing music that much. And then there just was a moment where I actually did start playing music, but which is one of the great joys of my life is to be able to play music with my friends.
Danny, is
The-
obviously you're professional when you do this and working with these peers, but is there ever a moment when you go, wow, a guy from Toms River, New Jersey, I'm here shooting Bob Dylan or Bruce? Does it ever hit you like just take a step back and go, whoa?
Yeah. You know what, Stan? It always does, and it still does. In
Yeah.
fact, people come into the gallery, to this day, they come in and they're like, well, you shot all these photos?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
I've heard that question a lot. Yes.
I'm like, and they're like, wait, you did that Bruce Springsteen photo? Yeah. That Tupac photo? Yeah. And I even have to step back and think, wow, I'm exhausted just looking at this, bunch of work. And and honestly, the stuff in the gallery is like the tip of the iceberg. I have so much stuff nobody's ever seen. My goal is to get that stuff out into the world. But yeah, I do step back and think that. And, I mean, I'm just a guy from Tom's River, and I went out there, and with the only agenda I had was to have great life experiences, and to do it through the music industry has been really fantastic. And I've been so fortunate to have my wife Maria along for the ride, who's
Yeah.
always been supportive of me and looking after me. And
How did you and Maria meet?
we met in high school.
Aw.
Yeah, we met
Wow.
in high school. We had a couple of mutual friends, and we started dating. And then we both went to school. She went to FIT in New York City, and I went to school in Boston. And we just always remained in touch and circled back around when
Love it.
after school. So, yeah,
That's great.
it's been great. And the fact that we have that gallery there is also just kind of serendipity. Maria and I were in Asbury Park, and that space was empty, and the folks from iStar or Star Properties now came over to me, and Maria, and someone was just said, "Oh, we were thinking, are you interested in doing a pop-up gallery there, because the space is empty and we'd like to fill it up with something cool, and we're happy to help you produce it and get it done." And at first I really actually wasn't that interested, because I had done so many shows like that, and they just ended up costing me money. And then I was stuck with a bunch of prints in my storage that were going to get nicked around and knocked around and not worth or be able to sell down the road. But we decided, because we had become friends with Tina Karekis, and Tina, her lease was up in the spot where she was. And we said, Tina, if you're up for this, we might be into it. If you want to run the gallery, because you can. I'm on the road, and there's just and Tina just was like, had just lost her space and said, yeah, I'll bring my stuff over and we'll combine the two and we'll create something, really awesome. A community spot that, is a place where people can gather in the community. And, even 10 years ago when we started it, Asbury was still pretty thin.
Yeah. Tina, perfect choice. I always say the nicest woman in Asbury Park. And
Yeah.
for those, anyone watching who hasn't been to Danny's gallery, it's just this incredible place. You're always welcome there. They make you feel welcome. They give you free postcards. Danny is there a lot. Glad to take pictures. They have a Bruce selfie spot. They have restrooms. So
That's right. Live
That's-
music.
Live music.
live music.
Sure. And Tina's just so interesting. She just always has great things to talk about, and she engages you so nicely, and
Yes.
and she flows, like she segues between people, and it's a beautiful experience in there.
Yeah.
And also Courtney and Zach Sandler, and your son Max is there a lot, and your daughter too.
Yeah.
Always just feels so welcomed in there. And
Yeah.
that's always nice.
It's a unique place.
Yeah. Thank you. Our friend Rachel Anadopkin was in today. And she said exactly that. She goes, wow, you have such a great crew here. This is such a nice group of people, you know, David, who makes my prints, Courtney, Max, Michael, Nina, our daughter, helps us with social media. And Nina is also, today I was over there. We do this thing on Patreon. Patreon is a platform where you can support the artist who's making the content. And mine is very reasonable at $5 a month. And I have been making these videos going through contact sheets of my past jobs. And like the contact sheets are really cool to look at. They are just, you can see each frame that you shot on the roll of film, and there's grease pencil marks around it to show you which are the hero images. And I talk about the cameras I used and why I chose that shot, what the assignment was, and that sort of stuff. And it's been pretty cool. We filmed 3 more today, but we've done Bruce, Pearl Jam, Foo Fighters, Fish, Patti Smith, so Radiohead. There's a bunch of them. They're really cool. So I encourage people to go check it out if they do Patreon. It's pretty cool. We actually have an Eddie Vedder one up on my YouTube channel. The one that I did for Ed, just so people can get an idea of what it looks like and how, what they could, plan on seeing if they.
I remember when the Chicago Cubs won the World Series, all of a sudden they show on the field and there's you and Eddie Vedder taking pictures at Wrigley Field.
And Bill Murray.
That
That was a night to remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Danny, you mentioned Rachel, and I'll say this Sunday, we mentioned it early at 4:00 at the gallery. My friend from Sweden, Alexandra Yardville, will be playing at 4:00.
Incredible.
Yep. And that will be her 3rd time playing the gallery, and she's thrilled. And why don't you then talk about the show that will be at 7:00 at Asbury Lanes that you're a part of?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We have a great show that Rachel put together to benefit Sweet Relief. And we're also adding on John Bon Jovi's Soul Kitchen, one of our people that we're going to donate to when it's over.
Great.
He's just doing such great stuff and always has. I see him over there over Stan's shoulder. But
There he is.
we're going
to talk about that.
Yeah. I'm from Tom's River, and I so Monmouth and Ocean County. It's just like it's so cool what they're doing. So they'll be one of the beneficiaries as well. And we're having Rachel's band's going to do a set, and Rachel's been playing at the gallery, with me, since we opened. We've had all sorts of jams in there with her and all of our friends, Gary Clark Jr. and Nathaniel Rateliff and Robert Randolph and on and on and on, and local musicians, as well. And there, Renee Maskin and Cranston Dean. It's just, anyway, so we're putting together this show. It's Sunday night at the Lanes, and it will be Rachel's band. Then we have my friend Roger Stevens from Blind Melon, who's one of the guitar players from Blind Melon, who's a dear friend of mine. Neil Francis, who's an incredible musician. His work, his music is rooted in like soulful R&B kind of funk type stuff. He's an incredible singer and songwriter and keyboard player. We're gonna have Danny Clinch on harmonica. You might have heard of him. And but I'm real excited about I just spoke with my friend Ben Jaffe from Preservation Hall Jazz Band, and the Preservation Hall Jazz Band horn section is coming up.
Oh, cool.
And they're gonna sit in with us. And it's funny, someone just posted something was when Bruce sat in with Tangier's Blues Band at the Kristen Ann Carr Fund. It was, I guess, 10 years ago, or maybe 7 years ago. And Bruce sat in with Tangiers, and Ben Jaffe was there with his sousaphone, his tuba. we were just rocking out, with, a rock band with a tuba, and it was so cool, that he got to meet Bruce that night and stuff. So, and I guess hopefully that, we're going to invite some other guests that will be in town, and we're going to also, shoot, what was I going to say? We're going to invite some other guests, and it's
Day
gonna-
after American Music Honors. So
Oh, and that's what I was gonna say. And American Music Honors is the night before. So hopefully there'll be a bunch of people that are gonna stick around for the weekend and hang out and, come to the show. So I encourage anybody that wants to hear another good night of music after the American Music Honors to come and hang with us, because it's gonna be a party. It's gonna be loose, it's gonna be fun. It's all great players, and it'll be a good time. I guarantee it.
So,
tickets are available at the gallery, correct? I read-
Tickets are available, I guess, at the gallery, certainly at the lanes, I think. Let me see if I have any information about that. I don't right here, but
no,
Rachel
so
has tickets.
Rachel has tickets and Tina has tickets from what I understood. And we've been, we know the spring notes are coming out in droves for this show. We're all coming out.
Right.
I love it.
We're all coming out. And we want to not only want to support the charities, obviously, as always, but we definitely want to support Rachel Ann. We love her. She was on the show last week.
I heard, yeah.
And she was great, and she's a
She's great.
sweetheart. So we'd
Yeah.
love to support her.
Yeah. Great.
And
Danny,
Dan,
can I-
you mentioned the lanes. You mentioned the Tangiers band and Bruce playing with you. When Asbury Lanes reopened 2018, maybe they had a special opening night, and the
Yep.
Portugal, the man was the main act. But there was an opening act, Tangiers Blues Band, with a special guest guitar player. I love that poster. There's Bruce Springsteen as an opening act.
I mean,
You want to talk
well,
about that a little?
I think what happened was the poster, in this day and age of Instagram, he was supposed to be like I think, I forget how it was worded, but it was on a big poster. It would have read a little bit more like, and Bruce Springsteen is going to be there to welcome the lanes, whatever, to host or whatever. But what it made it look like was like, Bruce Springsteen, it's like a special guest of Tangiers Blues Band or something. We all had a real laugh about it, I got to tell you. We were dying. And the Portugal the Man, those guys were just like, yeah, remember that time that Bruce Springsteen opened up for us, and I see those guys all the time, and they're fantastic and good people. So we always have a laugh about that. But yeah, what ended up happening was, they were opening the lanes, and people, of course, always, want Bruce to represent at those things. And I was like, I'm not the guy to ask him to come to the lanes, and I said, but Tangiers would love to play, and I'm happy to recommend some bands that could play with us that would maybe entice him to come out. And then somebody else got his ear, and he all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, someone talked to Bruce. He said he's going to come out." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds good to me." And that was our first time playing with him in that capacity, where we actually worked on the songs, and yeah, we went as I recall, he said, are we rehearsing? And I was like, well, sure, of course. I mean, we are rehearsing. Are you rehearsing? He's like, well, yeah. And I said, okay, well, how about, Carol record, rehearsal space up in New York City? Cause at the time he was doing, Broadway. So he was like, all right, I'll see you there, and sure enough, like we all got there like 2 hours early, and we're like woodshedding on all the songs, even though they're just old rock and roll songs, and Kevin showed up, of course, an hour earlier, and then sure enough, like 5:59, Bruce walks in the room, and yeah, fellas, all right, let's do this. And man, he just elevated everybody in the room. We were all like, oh my Lord, this is ridiculous. I mean, how did he take this? How did this room sound an hour ago, and how's it sounding right now?
Wow.
Everybody like elevated their play. It was incredible. And then we looked over our shoulder. There was a knock on the door, and like Sting walked in. I was like, I heard you were over here playing with Danny's band, And it was kind of funny. And I thought to myself, dang, we should ask Sting to come and have a little jam with us. That would have been fun. But anyway, it was fantastic. And then he was, of course, was like, are we sound checking? I'm like, hardest working man in show business right there. Doing sound check. Like, yeah, we're sound checking. Oh, we're still there. And
Down pretty good. You sound just like him.
damn, it was so enjoyable. It was really it was a moment to remember, for sure. And and then he of course sat in with us at See Here Now. I mean, we could get into that down the road, but
Yeah.
oh my goodness, that
Well,
was
that's what I wanted to ask you. I said, I was thinking in my head that, Light of Day is always, for the last God knows how many years I've been around, and now really, See Here Now has become such a yearly much anticipated event. And you went from the gallery and how did the See Here Now even come about?
Interestingly enough, it in a way, my partner Tim Donnelly was doing these little gallery shows. He had moved to Asbury Park and he was taking advantage of the empty spaces on the boardwalk. And he was doing these little gallery shows, getting surfers and local musicians to make art and hang it and then throw a little opening and whatnot, and we would all go out. And I think he was calling those See Here Now at the time. Um, and and he and I had been the chief photographer for Bonnaroo for like 20 years, and I would hire Tim as a producer to help me gather artists to photograph. And so he and I had been like to many, many festivals, and I had been to not only Bonnaroo, but Lollapalooza and et cetera. And he and I were always like, man, we should do a festival in Asbury Park. Like that would be so cool. And then Mumford and Sons, who was playing the festival this year, they did this thing called Gentlemen of the Road. And they would go into communities that had hardships recently, and they would go and do a show there, put a little mini festival on there, and raise some money, bring some revenue to the neighborhood, whatever it was. Well, we had just gone through, I think, we had gone through a big storm down in Seaside, as well as a fire that had happened on the boardwalk in Seaside at the time. And they got wind of it and they chose Seaside Heights to do a show on the beach. And it was Mumford and Sons, Alabama Shakes, and like Flaming Lips and a couple other great bands. But very manageable, maybe 15,000 people, something like that, 10 or 15. And Timmy and I saw it and we were like, wow, we could do this. And it would be so cool to do it in Asbury Park. And so we started shopping it around, and we literally were at the end of our rope. We had shopped it around to a bunch of people, went down the road with one guy. We thought it was going to happen. And then I had like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, I remember Tim Sweetwood is a guy I met at Bonnaroo, and he had come up to me one day and said, we should do something together. We could do a festival, or we could do something cool. I'm a promoter in Atlanta. And so I hit him up because I remember he was now helping Live Nation and C3 specifically. He was helping C3 build out their festival, build out their festivals. So I went to him and we gave him our one sheet, and he was the only guy that said, okay, cool. I'm going to fly up from Atlanta and see what you're talking about. I've never been to Asbury. I'm gonna come up and have a look, right? Okay. So he comes up, and I don't have all the dates and the actual events that happened, but there's a funny part to this story that's very Bruce related, right? So he comes up to Asbury Park to see the site, and he gets up there and he's standing on just north of Convention Hall. And he looks down the beach and he looks at the Convention Hall, and we point out the pony and we walk by the Wonder Bar and we see the park over there. And he's just like, oh man, this spot is magical. He's like, I put on a festival in a park in Atlanta and I got to build out the vibe. I got to build the vibe. He's like, this has a vibe and I don't even have to build it. This is just a vibe. Right. And So he's like, I think I can make this happen. So that night, I forget what it was. Maybe it was Light of Day. I don't think it was Light of Day. I think it was the film festival, the Asbury Park Film Festival. And we took him there. We said, he was staying the night. We said, we're going to take you to this, this event. Bruce gets up and plays. So we're like, yo, this is a good sign. It took me, I live in the next town over, and I came to Asbury Park for 20 years and didn't see Bruce Springsteen. So you come down the first night, right? Well, no kidding, the next 2 times that he came to Asbury to do a site visit, to, cut the deal with us, whatever, Bruce played in Asbury Park, and he saw it 3 times in a row.
Wow.
True story.
That's cool.
So anyway, we have H.M. Woolman, who's a good friend of ours, who's our partner, Tim Donnelly, Tim Sweetwood, and myself, and C3. And so, we wanted to do music, art, and surfing, and we managed to do it. In our first year, we got lucky. We got a bunch of surfers who played music and made art, Jack Johnson and G Love and Ben Harper, and down the line, and just such a great lineup. And from that point forward, I think we almost sold out every year, except for the first one. And so it's just been a great experience for us. And I feel like our production team that, is C3 is just incredible. They really know what they're doing. And I think they also really care about the community of Asbury Park. And they also, we learn from our mistakes, and we learn from our successes, and we keep building on it and trying to make it better and better every year. And people were really stoked when we ended up doing the day before we go on sale, we allow anyone with a Asbury Park license, or electric bill, to come up and buy tickets ahead of time. And the people were like, I thought, oh, these people are going to be disappointed. They're waiting in a long line, this kind of thing. And they're like, no, this is great. There's all this camaraderie, and everybody's hanging out and talking about the show, and who they want to see. And it reminded people of waiting in line for like Ticketmaster, like all the folks on this, I could tell the age of everybody here. We all stood in line at Ticketmaster.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I was at the Cosmic Surf Shop on Route 37 in Toms River.
I can't even imagine, because like it reminds me, like every time we go, and there's so much happening in so many different stages. In a way, it reminds me of Live Aid, because it's like, the Philly, the London, the this, and you go, and I see you, like I remember, at one of the greatest experiences of Asbury, I believe, and I think Stan and anybody who was there will attest to this, is having Bruce do the Asbury show at See Here Now is one of the greatest things that ever happened in Asbury Park. Okay, it really was the Woodstock of Springsteen, fans. Yeah. And I remember, listen, we're also huge Gaslight Anthem fans. So, we were in the Gaslight Anthem side, and then and I'm seeing you driving in the car going to the Gaslight Anthem thing, and Bruce comes out and does, he opens up the show with them with, American slang and history books. And then he does that, and all of a sudden you're jumping back in the car and you're going to the other side of the thing. And it's like, oh my God, it's like, I can't imagine all day long doing that, and you're running this thing. It was crazy. But I remember, we went to the one that they had Pearl Jam, and it's also one of our huge favorites, And
that was insane. That was really insane.
And
right after COVID.
And then when you're talking about the people that you started with, and no disrespect to them, but what you started with, and then where it's going, like every year, and like that Bruce thing was, and that picture, like my favorite picture from you always has always been Eddie Vedder jumping off the thing. You have that big thing, and that's iconic for me. That's my favorite picture you've ever taken. I love that picture. But then you took that picture of Bruce looking backwards while, and you see the whole Asbury, and we know, like, we're all in that crowd, and the smile that's on his face you know, knowing like what he's, when you think about it, he started in, playing the bars and all this stuff, and now he's back full circle playing the shore. God knows how many people. It's a sea of people. What a moment. I mean, I
We're
can only
talking about writing songs 500 feet from where he was playing.
exactly. And I'm telling you, I didn't care honestly. And me and Julie said this. I don't care if I was sitting in the ocean for that show. It didn't matter. You just needed to be there. You
Yeah.
needed to say that I was in Asbury Park when Bruce played Asbury.
Exactly.
Played
Yeah.
that show.
And we were practically in the ocean, actually.
Well, so was I. Yeah.
It's okay.
But it was worth it
Um,
because we were first row for Gaslight Anthem, and
Yeah.
those are my guys now. So
Yeah. Well, that moment where of the photograph that I captured, if you look on YouTube and you watch the opening of the show,
Mhm.
and he says, "Greetings, Asbury Park."
Yep.
And then he looks back at Max like, "Let's do this," with the big shit-eating grin on his face. It's a very, very quick moment. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, that's quicker than I thought. Because for me to catch it, I had to be ready. And he just turned around and I shot it and he turned back around like really quickly.
I always thought you told that was a shot you wanted to take, that it was like set up that way. I didn't know that he turned around and you caught it that way.
No, it's just got
Wow.
it. Yeah. And when the show was over, he literally came by, he put his arm around me and he was like, top 5 Bruce Springsteen shows ever.
wow.
You know?
I told Howard Stern that too.
It was great. Julie got her Thundercrack song. I got Racing in the Street, my favorite song. And, I mean, it was just the best, the greatest moment. I mean, I would even say even in a lot of ways for Bruce too. And I would think even for you, because, it must have been a really proud moment for you to be part of that, knowing that this is something you started and now, let's just say the Santa Claus of Jersey, like we would call himself, is doing this type of show. It was just, it's
We
one of
were
the shows.
mind blown. Everybody. I'm sure everybody I know had a tear coming down their face at some point in the show,
Yeah,
Definitely.
kudos to
And
you guys.
Danny, while we're on that subject, talk about the night before at the Stone Pony, which has become a very hot ticket. There's the first night after party at the Pony.
Yeah.
And I went that night and, it's mobbed, but Bruce had played Baltimore the night before and had a show the next day and he's 70-some years old. And it's 11:30 at night. And all of a sudden I hear the crowd going, Bruce. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? There's Bruce Springsteen walks in and on stage at the Stone Pony at 11:30 on a Saturday night. So
It was
yeah.
crazy. I had been texting with him and I said, we do this thing on, I've invited him years before. So he knew we did the jam on the Saturday night. And I was like, man, it'd be so cool if you could come out and play a song with us or two, it'd be really great. And he's like, well, we'll see how I feel, and I was like, okay. And, and then you're getting closer and he's like, I think it was hilarious, really. He was like, I think I'm going to come out. I'm bringing Gary and Max and Steven, and we're going to come out. And I was like, oh, okay, great.
No
and then
problem.
like a couple days go by and then he's just like, I just don't think I can make it. It's, I've got Sunday and then I got Friday and then I got a rest and then I got the gig on Sunday, etc. And I don't know. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then then he texts me on like, I guess maybe it was Saturday even. I don't know. But he goes, he texts me and he says, I'm coming out. Are the boys ready? That was his, I'm gonna come out. Are the boys ready? And I'm like, yeah, the boys are ready. What are we doing? What songs are we doing? And he's like, boom, boom, down the road a piece, Lucille. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like, we've done those before. We got it, right? And so I was even afraid to tell the band, I didn't want to tell anybody because we wanted to keep it on the down low. But I wanted them to rehearse the songs and all that. And of course, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, like all month, let alone that day. And so so I guess yeah, he comes in the backstage, and we're having a conversation about, okay, what do you want to do first? How you want to do it, and this and that. And Rachel was there, and Rachel's like, oh yeah, we're doing My Babe as well. And so if you want to come up for that, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll stay up for that. We'll do My Babe. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, cool, stay up for that. And then Bruce goes, um we should do Gloria, right? And I'm like, yeah, we should do Gloria. Because I was like, we were going to do Gloria. We've already rehearsed it because I love the version of Tom Petty's version on this live record where he tells like a huge, long, made up story about meeting some girl and so I had said to Bruce that I was like, yeah, we were gonna do it, and I was gonna tell like a made up story about meeting my wife on the boardwalk in Asbury Park. And he was like, oh, that's funny, you do it. Yeah, you can do it. And I was like, no, we'll do it. So he stays up, and during the tune, we're just killing it. It's Gloria. We're just having the time of our lives. And then he looks at me, breaks down the song. Dun, 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 and he points to the microphone, like, go ahead and tell your story, So I tell this like whole totally made up story about meeting my wife on the boardwalk and trying to get her name, and she keeps telling me no, she won't give me her name. And then, and then my version of the story was after, really teasing it out, like I kept asking her, and I was like, I own a business in town. I'm a good guy. Come on, tell me your name. And she's like, no. And I said, but I know Bruce Springsteen. And everybody started laughing. And it's just, so she finally told me her name. And then I was like, Maria. And we were all laughing. It was just so unbelievable. And the fact that he came out and, it was, and the moment before, Stan, like you said, so Noah Khan, who is arguably the other most famous,
Never heard of him before.
right? So Noah agrees to come out and do Folsom Prison Blues. And so, he comes out, everybody's like, oh my God, Noah Khan, like, this is amazing. He does Folsom Prison Blues. He's looking at me like, oh, you play the harmonica? Like, it was fun because I had worked with him before on a couple of things. And, and so anyway, he steps off the stage, and I go, well, we got the one headliner, to play with us tonight. She's like, should we bring out the other headliner? And that crowd just roared like nothing I had ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Nobody called
stunning.
me. Tell me. Nobody told me.
It wasn't that there were no rumors at all. There was nothing.
No.
It was like, hey, he played Baltimore the night before. He's got a big show the next night. He's not going to be out on a Saturday night in Asbury Park.
Yeah.
Like the mayor of Asbury that day. He just was everywhere. He was just like everywhere.
Ubiquitous Bruce.
I always say about Bruce, and I'm sure other people say it too, is like that guy. I mean, it's obvious. I don't know. I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know, but he works as hard as anybody, if not harder than anybody. When we do photo shoots, he always goes the extra mile. If I ask him to do something after we've been shooting a long time, he's just like, yeah, you think it'd be cool? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, let's do it.
He's such a mensch, He's such a good-hearted person.
And, sitting in with, the thing with Trey from Fish was another like really kind of a funny story where Trey's a friend of mine, and we were like, who can we put on before Bruce that would appreciate the slot and know and really be honored to be there. And Donnelly and I were like, oh, it's got to be Trey, and so I had called Trey once I spoke to his manager, and they agreed to do it. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna bring I'm bringing my my band, like the four-piece band, And I was like, no, you got to bring the horn section, and you got to bring the E Street Band vibes out, And he was like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay. And he literally called me a couple minutes later, and he's like, okay, I called all of my horn section. I got everybody. We're like bringing the big band, and he was on vacation somewhere. So I got Trey calling me from vacation. And he's such a great guy. He's a mensch also. And so then Trey says to me, oh, you gotta get, you gotta get Bruce to play Kitties back with us. Get him out there to play Kitties back with us. Come on, please, just whatever you can do. Tell him I got a great band. I got a great band. It's such a great band. And he's just telling me, please, like, Kitties back. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Like, I'm gonna tell Bruce what to do, right? I might mention it to him, but whatever. So funny enough, I get a call from Rolling Stone magazine to talk to me about the See Here Now that year. And I'm talking with this guy, and we're having a great conversation, and it's going well. And I just he's asking me a lot about Trey and a lot about Fish, and and that sort of thing. And I finally start to realize, like, oh, this guy is a Fish fan. This guy is a big Trey fan. This is what he cares about at See Here Now this year. And so he goes, what do you think they would play if they played together? What song do you think they would play? And I was like, oh, Kitty's back. So then the article comes out, and the guy, like, basically says how cool it would be. Danny thinks the best song for them to play together would be Kitty's back because Trey has a great big band and they're really good and this and that and the other thing. Well, I'm at a photo shoot with Fish, and they're just leaving the shoot, and Bruce texts me and says, hey, tell your buddy Trey that I'm all in to do Kitties back. Like, I'm like, what? How did he did he read the Rolling Stone article? I've never actually asked him that question. I got to ask him that question. But he's like, I'll tell your friend Trey I'll do the Kitties back. And I was like, oh, okay. I called Trey right away, and I was like, dude, you're not gonna believe what just happened. And, so anyway, and then for days Trey was texting me like, I'll make sure it's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen. Like, yeah. And we were both so excited. We were like little kids,
They had a little overlap. Bruce played with him back in 2013 or around that at Bonnaroo. Like they were
I did that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was me.
You got your hands in everything, Danny.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about the picture I have up, which I talked to you a little bit about at your gallery last week.
Yeah.
I'll set it up. Bruce Springsteen was rehearsing with the E Street Band in Ocean Grove, the town just south of Asbury Park, very little town. And he was there 5 days. And about 2-3 weeks ago on a Saturday, Bruce usually is the last to arrive. And Danny was there that day, and I saw him on the porch, and we were waiting for Bruce to arrive. He had been driving himself. And all of a sudden, this very fancy sports car that you would see in Beverly Hills, not in Ocean Grove, drives up. And I'm like, oh, Bruce has a ride today. And then it's like, oh, and then he gets out, and I'm like, well, who's his driver? I see grayish hair. Oh, it's John Bon Jovi. And Danny's there, as you can see in the photo, capturing it all. So you might have been tipped off a little bit that might be happening, huh?
I walked up, and his guys were out front, and I was about to go inside, and someone turned to me and said, I think Bruce is going to be rolling up soon. And I was like, oh, cool. And he was like, yeah, you might not recognize the car, but John Bon Jovi's driving him up. And I was like, oh, cool. So I just waited, and I really got a couple of nice moments, but the better moment was when they left together, and I followed them out, and I showed you the one photo of John and Bruce just smiling, grinning ear to ear as they were pulling away. And I think, Stan was blocked by like the back window or something where he would have been in the photo. And, but that was a really nice moment. And John was super cool. And it was fun to be in the rehearsals and watching John, just really enjoy the band. And, everybody's looking at how the others do their thing, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, and I see he's part of the on stay, the Monmouth University shows, June 4th and 5th. So
Yeah.
that will be excited.
I'll be really excited.
That's some lineup. And also when Bruce came out with Bon Jovi, you'll remember that Steve Van Zandt had a new Jaguar SUV. And but John goes in his car. Bruce goes over with Steven, and Steven showed him his new car. And Bon Jovi's like, "Where'd he go?" It's like a rearview mirror.
Right, yeah.
I think you got pictures of that too of Bruce and
Yeah,
Steven together.
yeah, that was cool. That was
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah.
Danny, a couple things for you. Our friend Melissa Ziobro from the museum, she says you need to write a book, not a photography book, not a coffee table book. You need to write a book about
Yeah.
the life of a photographer in rock and roll.
Yeah. Well, that'd be fun. Who would buy it?
All
Many.
of us, all these
Many.
stories.
that's a
Okay,
good
so I
one.
want to for anybody that's never been to the Transparent Gallery in Asbury, if you go in, here's Danny. There's the famous Dave Grohl picture, Foo Fighters, and
Yeah.
there's Miss Tina. So if you see this lady, she's a great lady. She's very kind. She's very sincere, very down to earth. That is Tina. She will take care of you. I bought a couple things from you guys, and she's taken care of us. I got this I wanted to ask you about. I've got you can't see it. It's Leon Bridges.
Oh yeah.
He's one of my he's one of my favorite artists. Anyway, I can't get it
Sure.
in there, but
Yeah.
you captured his style so well. For
Yeah.
anybody that doesn't know Leon, his first album, Sail On, was like a retro R&B, Sam Cooke type feel to it, but he's more R&B now. But
Yeah.
you also directed a little short documentary
I
that
did.
was excellent. It was excellent. I was like, wow. Like
Yeah.
this is like a Tom Zimney feel to it. Like I'm not
Yeah.
comparing. I'm just like it was a very
Sure.
very well made documentary. So great
Yeah.
job on that.
Yeah, I've made a bunch of concert films as well. And um, first off, I want to say, well, I did when I was at the Cubs when they won the World Series, I was making a film at the time called Let's Play 2, which is about Pearl Jam playing
That's a great movie.
playing at Wrigley, and it follows Eddie's love for the Cubs and all the way through to when they win the World Series. It's a very cool film, and I've made a film. I did a John Mayer film called Where the Light Is. I've done some Foo Fighters concert films called Skin and Bones. I've also did the dual disc program on Devils and Dust, and that's a very seldom seen piece of work of mine, and it is absolutely stunning for several reasons. One, because Bruce just sings with such emotion on those songs, and it's so incredible and it's so intimate. It was really just him and I and a couple of camera operators, all shot on film. And it's a nice little documentary about him talking about his songwriting at the time and all that stuff. So I appreciate that.
Check
I
it
saw
out.
the Noah Kahan documentary last night, and I saw your name flash by. So you were
Yeah.
involved in that.
I directed all the multicam shoot for Fenway Park.
Ah,
All that stuff, all this crazy spider cam.
wow.
Yeah, myself and I had a great team. My friend Josh Goldman and my friend Grant James and a whole bunch of other people.
That couldn't have been easy.
No, it wasn't, but it was cool to see it in there, and I really like Noah a lot. But I did want to say, in regard to the gallery, that I appreciate those who come in and buy some art from us, because that's how we keep the lights on there. And we do a lot in the community. We put a lot of free music shows on and stuff, and people come in and spend a lot of time there. And it's great when for people to buy our merch and stuff. It's awesome to see it around. I was in Italy seeing Bruce and saw people wearing transparent Clinch Gallery stuff. But when someone like Stan comes in, or you, Ryan, comes in and buys a print, it really helps us keep the lights on there. And we really appreciate it.
And they
And
ship
it's high
worldwide.
quality stuff. Like they ship worldwide. The prints, the matting, like it's fantastic. So for anybody out there, I highly suggest getting something. You go to the gallery; they're all there. You can tell Tina what you want, sizes, all that kind of stuff. She'll take care
And
of you.
you can go online and see what we have. And again, like I said, my archive is very diverse. Some you could see a Tony Bennett on one page and a Metallica on the other, so, and everyone in between. So
And if you're looking for anything specific, like I was looking for some photos from last year's American Music Honors, and I don't know if they were online, but I asked Tina or Zach, and all of a sudden, here, take your choice.
yeah,
And so they'll find it for you, and they ship them to Sweden for me. If everything's done, packed, boom. So they ship worldwide.
yeah, That's us for sure.
Danny, I've got one last question for you on my end, and then
Yeah.
obviously you've worked with pretty much everybody that's out there in the world as far as music. And is there anybody that you never got a chance to, who's passed, that was retiring, but when you first got into it, is there 3 or 4 people that you can think of that you would have loved to have photographed?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was very close to photographing Prince,
Mm,
and it just, you know, I had a contact there, and it looked like it might happen where I was going to be able to shoot a show or something of his, and it never happened. So Prince is one of those people for sure. I would love to have photographed Bob Marley as well,
mm,
personally. And all the legends and the classics, but um, I always say that I'd also wouldn't mind having like 10 minutes with Dolly Parton, because I love Dolly Parton. I think she's incredible, and I have photographed her before, but it'd be nice to have a couple of minutes with her to talk to her and direct her and shoot a portrait of her. um, but I've been fortunate that a lot of the people that are are important to me that I've gotten to photograph. It's been really cool. Um, so, could I share with you guys a couple of things that are going on at the gallery?
Absolutely.
absolutely.
that's what I
Floor is
just
yours.
asked
The
you.
floor is
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So, my Instagram is Danny Bones 64. If you want to follow me on there, the Transparent Clinch Gallery is that's the Instagram for the gallery, which is also in my bio on my Instagram. We have uh, Alexandra playing on the 19th. We're very excited about that.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock at the gallery. You can just come there, go for dinner, and then come over to the lanes and see the show that we're doing at the lanes. That'll be fun. Johnny Nameless is a great band from Seaside Heights, New Jersey, that I absolutely love. They're like the Velvet Underground meets the Cramps. That's what I always say. So that'll be good. Sonny Ken is May 16th. Looking forward to that. Redbird, May 17th. Cole Hallman, May 21st. My buddy Rennie Lopez, who plays in a band that I started recently called the Hitchhikers. He's playing drums in that band, but he's an incredible singer-songwriter, an incredible human. And Alejandro Escovedo on July 11th.
Mm, wow.
Yeah. And he played there once before and just kind of blew my mind, I gotta say. If you would like to be notified about all things Danny Clinch and Transparent Clinch Gallery, you could text the name Clinch, CLINCH, to 66866.
Repeat that, Danny. Sorry.
Text my last name Clinch to 66866.
Got it.
Okay.
And you will be put on our text and email list, and you'll get to know what's happening at the gallery at all times. And oftentimes people are like, oh man, I didn't know that was happening. And I'll tell you, here's something cool that just happened at the gallery. This is what I love about the gallery. So Glenn Hansard is an incredible musician from Dublin, and just an incredible human, great songwriter, incredible live show. He's actually done a show at the gallery, and he's just a good guy. He's just like, music to him, music is medicine, music is community, and all those things. And he was walking past the gallery because he was playing at the Stone Pony on Saturday, and he was on the way to sound check. He and I had already hung out for a little while, and he walked by and he knew there was live music, but it conflicted with his sound check. So he walked by and he goes, wow, these guys sound great. It was Chris Casper band out of Philly. Great, really great band. And they had a fiddle, they had a banjo, etc. And Glenn was just like really intrigued by it. And he's like, why don't you, he had already invited me to sit in and play some harmonica. And we did Gloria, by the way. And so he says, well, why don't you invite them over, to sit in? They can come and play a song over, during my set. And I was like, I was like, that's really nice of you. And he's like, yeah, it's not about me. It's about the community. And I was like,
Wow.
yeah, but do you really want them to come over in the middle of your set and play a song? Or are you just trying to, are you just being nice? And he was like, no, man, I mean it. So, okay. So I tell the band, they just played to like, 35 people in the gallery. And then they're like, what? And so next thing you know, we're all on the stage, and Glenn leaves the stage and lets them sing one of their own songs.
Oh,
Wow.
I
That-
love
Which
it.
the crowd
I love
loved. And I'm like, now this is what Transparent Gallery is about, And it's
Love it.
about that. It's about Bruce pulling up on his motorcycle, and coming in and hanging out and telling us some stories, It's about Gary Clark Jr. dropping in and picking up a guitar. It's about great art and community,
Yeah.
And final thing for me, Danny, people have been mentioning you have a show in New York City Thursday, Morrison
Oh,
Gallery.
geez, yeah, Morrison
Talk
Hotel
about
Gallery.
that.
Yeah.
Is that an
Um,
ongoing thing?
Well, I just did one. They have two galleries. One is in Los Angeles at the Sunset Marquis Hotel, and I did one a couple of months ago there, which was really incredible. And now we're bringing it to the showroom at 116 Prince. The opening is on Thursday, 6 to 9, and the Morrison Hotel Gallery. It's called Joyride.
Hmm.
And I named it that because my whole life is a joyride, and it's a good metaphor. But I'm leaning heavily on like artists with cars and motorcycles and things like that to to give it a theme. And that'll be up for about a month in New York City if people are there in town and stuff. So
Great.
Very cool. Danny, I have one more thing. I'd be remiss in not bringing this up since you're on the Spring Nut Cafe. We
Yeah.
have a very dear friend of ours who's very much involved in the group named Mary Jones.
Oh yeah.
You
So I
cap-
should do the
you
same.
you captured a very incredibly meaningful moment for her in her personal life for a lot of reasons. I just want to share this with everybody that's watching at home.
One of my favorite Danny Clinch shots, actually.
Yeah, me too.
This is our friend Mary Jones.
Oh,
She got Bruce to sign her arm at the Broadway show,
yeah.
and she was carrying the spirit of some very special people with her that night. So, fantastic shot.
Oh, that is a good one.
Yes, she's one of our moderators, and she does so much for the community as
She's
well.
an amazing person.
Amazing person, Mary Jones. Everyone,
Now, did she get that tattooed on her arm?
Yeah,
Oh, she did. Oh, yeah.
yep.
Hey,
She
girl.
did. So,
All right, Howie, anything from you before we wrap up? Julie?
Jules, you have anything?
I have so many questions that I can't even pick one.
I'm going to ask one question that someone asked in the group earlier, and when we get to it, is out of all the people that you've photographed, and is there anybody that you literally, became, well, we'll use the word spring nut or fanned out,
Fanboyed.
yeah, flamboyed by filming them?
I guess I learned to keep my cool and sort of, I learned to do the task at hand and try not to think about. I try to find other things in fanboying out. I try to find other sort of ways to connect with people, other things that we might have in common. And I feel like probably, Bruce, I would think that I probably recall being a little bit nervous being around Bruce and certainly Dylan, but Dylan was, well, Bruce is so kind, first of all. And as soon as I met him and spent some time with him, I kind of all that washed away. And Dylan also is just like, he's an eccentric guy who's, keeps to himself and all that. But when you're in a room with him and you've got a business to do and photos to take and stuff, like he was just very accommodating and very, very smart and funny. And it was really a great experience. So I don't really get too freaked out,
Well, it's, one of the funny, the funny things, but it's like that photo that you had previously before the one you have at the gallery now, where everyone takes the picture with the folded hands. there was the picture of Bruce in New York in the snow, right?
Letter to you.
And I think that was something that, if I remember correctly, I remember you telling the story, that it was like something that happened out of, spontaneously. It wasn't something that was really planned, but it happened to be a great photo. And, everyone was taking photos with that in your gallery.
Yeah.
They can show you the relationship that you have with Bruce and how comfortable and, it's just, I just want to say from in closing, on a, from a Spring Nut perspective and my relationship with you, and speaking for Julie as well, we want to thank you for all your support. We've done, even our serenades, we talked about this with, Rachel Ann, and even having some conversations with Zach and Tina, and who we adore, and we go back, way back, you know, we're on our eighth serenade. We're not making, trying to make this about us, but I'm saying from serenade one, we did our first one with you guys through. We did the, Jeffrey Gaines was at the gallery, and then every year we would do our thing on Saturdays and have the people play there. And then, it was such a, for me and Julie, yeah, we used to talk about like, oh my God, we were just a fan group and we're in Danny Clinch's gallery, it's a whole, having a show with Jeffrey Gaines and Joe Durso and all these other people and Rachel Ann. And I remember, just from where we started, and we've done some things with you as far as for the charity work with the Boys and Girls Club of Monmouth County. That was also special, and then you've always supported us as a group, and I want to say how much we appreciate it. It means the world to us. I know we're just a fan group in the end, in the day, but we also about community as well.
Right.
And we do thank you for all the support that you've shown us and all the collaborations we've had in the past, and hopefully in the future. So, and we hope you do come to the serenade, at the Pony in May 31st. It's going to be, a great thing, but also you're one of us, and we would love to have you there. So thank you for everything, Danny.
Thank you.
Danny, I got one more thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know I said
go
one
ahead.
last thing, but I'm
I got
sorry.
one last thing too, but you go ahead.
I want to circle back to what we started off with, your background. You said your mom was a photographer, your grandparents had been photographers, or some of your, uh, did your mom and dad, what kind of feedback did you get from your mom and dad? And have you passed it on now to your own kids?
What was the question?
Kind of like just, your mom and dad, your mom being a photographer,
Yeah.
she gets to see you
Yeah.
you be a professional. How
Yeah.
did that feel? What was her response? And then have you in turn pass that on to your kids?
Yeah, my parents were always supportive of me, and it was not a question. They were always supportive of me. They're very kind people. They were very welcoming people. They uh, they always put other people before them, and they did that with us kids. So, and we share the art and the love that we got from our parents, back to our kids, and try to just expose them to all the good stuff that we can, and music and art and photography and film, and just try to treat people right and be a part of a community that cares about others, and our kids are those people, and we feel like we're successful because our kids are very kind and very caring and are very respectful of others, and that sort of thing. So
Fantastic. Thank you.
yeah.
You
The one other thing I was going to mention, at the gallery on Record Store Day, we're spinning a bunch of like really cool records that we got from different artists. We got the See Here Now Springsteen record that we're going to spin. We've got a Tom Petty record. I think have a Will Daly record. We have a couple of different records that that we're going to spin that day, throughout the day, and of course, we got that Ren Silva console there. The thing sounds so incredible. It's a modern yet still like tube, really warm, record console that just sounds incredible. And we're going to be spinning that record.
That's this Saturday, right? Record Store Day?
Record store, April 18th.
April
A
18th.
lot going on April 8th.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
That's great. Asbury Park.
All right. Well,
Danny,
great.
this has been fantastic. We thank you. We know you're a busy person, so we really greatly appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and
Yeah, you bet.
Yep.
see you down the road.
Yep, I
See ya.
appreciate you all and all the work, the hard work that you do in honor of community and in honor of Bruce Springsteen. So,
Thank you, Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
he's
Thank you,
deserving.
Danny.
Have a good night.
Appreciate
We'll
it.
be seeing you.
Be well.
Yeah, you will.
Yes.
Take
See
care,
you
y'all.
further down the road.
All
Thanks,
right,
Danny.
peace.
All right.
All right, Danny
This
is
is like a
off.
Wrap
Danny
up
is
show.
off.
All right.
We are still streaming to Facebook. For those of you watching at home, we still
Yeah.
have
Still live.
64 views. Hey, that was a good crowd. We had
Yeah,
up
we had
to
a good
70
crowd.
some.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I always say this. We gotta talk. There's so many stories to get at. We could have gone on for another 3 hours.
Seriously, that dude needs to write a book. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, he's like,
That's
who would
good
want to
idea.
read that? Like, you just
Yeah.
captivated,
He
100
knows
people for 2 hours.
He's
You know, it is
met
amazing.
everybody. He's photographed everybody. That
You know,
go on.
I go into the gallery, I bring people in on my tours, and even that, all the different pictures, and it's like, yeah, he's photographed all these famous people. And it's like, these are all his photos, not just photos of them. He took
You
all-
took this one? You took this
Yeah,
one? Yes,
yeah.
that's me. I've taken
Yeah.
tens and tens of thousands of pictures of all these famous artists. Yes.
Yeah,
What a-
like Rod Stewart was playing around here last year, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to see Rod Stewart at the Art Center. Have you photographed him?" He goes, "Oh yeah, very nice."
We were at the Jason Isbell concert about 3 weeks ago, and all of a sudden we're sitting all of a sudden Danny's walking right down,
Oh, yeah.
he's walking right down the aisle, and let me see that hat, Ryan. I didn't see
I'm
that
wearing
hat.
my Jason Isbell hat. Yeah.
Love,
I love Jason. I love Jason.
yeah. I think he's one of the best songwriters today.
Oh, absolutely. He's like the Bruce Springsteen of his generation, like his
I
songwriting and
I
his
agree.
his
I agree. I love watching him, and
Well, it's like him and Brian Fallon. Like
I think Jason Isbell's playing that new place in Freehold, right?
is he, I know he's playing. He's playing. I thought it was Red Bank, but I didn't know he was playing. there.
Maybe, yeah, somewhere local.
it's
Jason.
probably on a Friday night. It's probably why we exited out of
Interesting.
our.
Yeah, so you two won't be at American Music Honors then, I guess, Saturday.
Saturday.
So
Yeah.
tomorrow, Howie, there's an announcement, correct?
So so just to give people up, tomorrow we have another show, another Spring Nut Cafe that we're going to mention, because we have there's a big show coming up a week from
25th.
Saturday, a week from
25th.
Saturday, the 25th. Happens to be someone else's birthday. That's royalty at least in my house.
Ooh, who could it be? Who could it be?
So there's, we're going to have Mark Soy from Tramps Like Us talking about the 35th anniversary of Tramps Like Us band, and it's going to be a really special show. So Mark will be on the show tomorrow night. And we have a huge announcement for Serenade 8 attendees tomorrow at noon. Sorry, Maureen Rogers, Washburn. You're going to have to wait.
Sorry, Maureen.
Yeah. But it's going to be really, all I will say is that for an already spectacular planned weekend for that, it just got even more spectacular. And I would, let's put it this way, if you can come on a Friday to that Friday weekend, it would be worth your while. So
During the daytime.
during the daytime, exactly. So you should, but all the details will be tomorrow, because this is it's an announcement that's going to be co-announced. So anyway, back to Danny Clinch.
Yes.
Great show, guys, as usual. We all love love Danny and respect him, and also, obviously Tina as well, and Zach, major players and good friends of all of ours. And it's amazing.
Zach, actually, Bobby Mahoney got invited to go on Steven's Underground Garage to fill in. They had a last minute back out or something. So
Yeah.
Bobby went, and they took Zach with them to play saxophone. Great time. I told Bobby, if you're in next year, dude, like I'm going. Like I've never been on a cruise, but I
Oh,
will go to see. Bobby got to meet like Mike Ness, who's huge in the punk rock world. He said he had a great time. So
Yeah,
I'm in for that
Connie
too.
was there, the photographer.
yep,
Jessica
Connie
Allen
was there.
played.
Yep.
Yep.
Get me a ticket, Ryan. I'm going.
All right, let's do it. Spring Nut, Little Steven's Underground Garage, and Spring
Well,
Nut
Spring Nut Cruise. There you go.
Cruise.
Yeah, we can make.
Your host,
We can do
Howie
the
and Julie,
serenade.
like Julie from the Love Boat.
We
Julie.
could have.
The Love
We could do
Boat.
Serenade
Do,
9
do,
on
do,
the boat.
do, 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 do.
Ah, so what's going on? So today Monmouth announced, which I'm surprised they announced it today, but June 4th and 5th, Thursday.
Yeah,
and
I was surprised also because all of a sudden Julie texted me, so it's like I guess they announced it. I'm like,
I thought I did. Well, Bob Santelli hinted it was coming, and then
No, I know. I just didn't
Yeah.
know it was coming today. So.
I figured they'd wait till American Music Honors, but no, people have been messaging me. I believe Bruce will be playing both nights. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe he will. And
I
probably
forget
just
where
one or
it
two
is.
songs.
Where
And
is it? Stan?
what's that?
Where are those shows?
In the gymnasium at Monmouth, the arena.
So that's
So
the bigger one.
whereas Pollock Theater only seats 700, this is about 4,100.
Yeah, that's great.
So I don't know ticket prices. I don't know anything more. They haven't announced who's playing what night. There's a ton of names on there: Bon Jovi and Kenny Chesney and Dropkick Murphys, and it's America 250. So and the Disciples of Soul are the backup band.
Yep.
And tickets go on sale Tuesday.
Based
So-
on our interview with Melissa and her interview of Kenny Chesney, I'm going to say Melissa Ziobro played a large role in getting Mr. Kenny Chesney there,
yeah,
if nothing else for her own purposes.
yeah, yeah.
I got on, I could say from my unofficial good source that Bruce will be playing both nights. That I could.
Yeah, I'm playing both. That's probably a couple songs, so don't expect
Yeah,
a
he's not
full-blown
playing
Bruce Springsteen concert. Yeah.
No, right. He's not playing a Springsteen concert. Exactly.
Bruce gonna be there. Bruce is
gonna be there.
gonna be there.
Yeah, but he's
Yes.
not
A very special guest might be there on Thursday and Friday.
Yes.
Very special guest.
This is always when you do this in our world. It's
What did you say, Stan? Since 1976, that has been the
It's
running gag.
1976 at the Jersey Shore. People promoting shows I'd love to use, plus special guests. And every time Joe Grishecki plays the Wonder Bar in July, and Joe's a great guy. Oh, rumors are that Bruce is going to be there. Rumors from where? From who?
Who says?
And in my older age, I'm very snarky now. I said, where are those rumors from? Can you tell me? Who's saying that? So that it's
You
it's
got to
just
admit he's
hard.
showing up all over the place lately.
He is lately, though. He showed up at the Pony for the Why Up for Hunger event, for Little Steven's event. He did show up at that. And
I feel like he's stalking us. I mean, like a little bit.
but no, it's surprising. He is
I think
he's out
Patty's,
about, which I'm surprised.
I think Patty's just tired of seeing him and wants him out of the house. Bruce, go. There's something going on at the Pony. Like, just get out of here for a few hours. Go,
And-
go away.
And then
Go
there's
find
that
Danny.
show
Play with Danny.
July 3rd in Freehold, which, go see Little Steven. Go see Jake Clemens.
It's a great lineup.
It's a great
That's gonna be
lineup.
an
Stop. Is
amazing
Bruce
show.
going to be there? That's one of my pet peeves. But that's,
I really wish we could go to that one.
yeah.
Why are you guys out of town, or is that on a Friday?
It's on a Friday, and it's like
Oh.
in but you know what? It's not like it's not like there's a hotel next door and we can just like lean out the window and watch. It's too far out.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no place
And
to stay
you know what?
there.
This place, it's July 3rd. It's likely to be very hot. There's no seats.
Mm.
We'll see.
And it's, the Pony Summer Stage, at least that's right by the ocean. This, I don't want to put anything down. I'm going to go, but it's like, it may be a 4 or 5 hour show in 85 to 90 degree weather with high humidity. And so,
That's a great show. You got the Weaklings, Low Cut Connie, Joe Grishecki with Gary U.S. Bonds, our friend,
yeah.
Jake Clemens, and some guy named Little Steven. I don't know who that is, but
Phenomenal show.
Yes. But stop with, I'm only going because I want to see Bruce.
Yeah.
Hold
no.
on.
Oh,
And
Stan.
if he's there, he's
Stan.
there. But I don't know. I've always found that so degrading to the bands who are playing,
it's a great lineup.
Yeah. It's
Care if
great.
Bruce is there or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it's a field in Freehold. It's where they have the Monmouth County Fair. Just a big field that they're having. Jason Isbell is playing there the end of July. I did see that.
Ooh,
Really?
great.
At that same place, at that same
Check
field?
it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, maybe Bruce will be there. Yeah.
How many, like, any idea, like, how many they can,
About 9,000.
wow, okay.
I don't think it's sold out.
No, it's not.
Is
The
the VIP,
B-52s are playing.
is the VIP section sold out for that day, Stan? That July
I
3rd
think it
show?
might be, but people have been offering them. I've seen even on Spring Nuts that they have extras. So they were $200 and some. Friday, July 31st. There you go. Not good for you and Howie and Julie.
That's why we don't have tickets.
Yeah, Jason is
No,
going.
That's why we didn't
we
even
don't have
think
them
about
already. We already know why. One
Yeah.
of two reasons.
Yeah, here's this one. The first show there's June 19th, Sublime. June 20th, Dark Star Orchestra. June 21st, Humphreys McGee. I don't even know some of these bands. July 3rd, Little Steven. July 11th, the B-52s.
Ooh.
So, but yeah, and it's called the Park Stage. The Park Stage is what it's called in Freehold.
They built something there though, like
Now it's a big field. It's where they have the Monmouth County Fair, but they're just putting up a stage, I guess, and some barriers and things like that. So no seats or anything. No.
Howie, are you announcing that we're getting Brian Fallon on the cafe tomorrow? Is that what the announcement is?
Dude,
Stop it.
I have two jobs. I have this job of Spring Nuts, and then to getting these people on this podcast, and I work. But I do have some. We do have some good people coming up, and but I dream big.
I think Brian would do it. I really do.
If you can get in touch with him, you might get this because I've tried, but I'm still working on it. I dream big. That's
We've done very well. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you believe it's 35 episodes? I counted.
I was shocked when you
Yeah.
said that. Like I knew it was up there, but I had no idea it was 35. Wow.
Yeah, 35. So we got 15 to 50. So
Yeah, they've all been good. It's one tops the other, and you had said you reached out to Danny, and then someone had reached out to me like, "Oh, would like to get him on there," and it's like, which I felt like, oh, they're watching, or this person's watching these. I'm like, oh, Danny should get on here. Yeah, so it's kind of neat.
Seriously, at some point in time, like 6 months down the road, we do a Clinch Gallery Zoom with Tina, Danny, Zach. What's the other person's name?
Courtney.
Courtney.
That
We do a Clinch Gallery Zoom gallery.
yeah, we're in.
Yeah.
But we do have some things that are coming up in the next month and a half. I mean, as far as some really cool, great guests, and we announce them as they come. So just stay tuned and listen, guys. We're out there. We appreciate you guys. Tuning in all the time, and even if you can't do it live, and Ryan is pulled out the statistics, and even I was floored because I had no idea that it was and the reach that we're talking about, in the thousands,
Tens of thousands.
of
Like
thousands.
we're well over 50,000 at this point.
Right, that are watching these things, which is crazy, and we're not even a sponsored. If you want to sponsor, by the way,
Feel free.
Julie's handling these sponsorships.
You need to be a podcast, a real podcast.
But tens of thousands of people that are viewing these Spring Nut Cafes, which is mind blowing, because I had no idea until Ryan ran the statistics.
It's great because nobody even knows where to find them.
Right, and that's right. Well, that's what no one knowing to find them. So, hey, listen, thank you guys for tuning in and supporting us, and thank you, Ryan, for doing such a wonderful job, and
Yes.
feel comfortable.
Amazing,
And
Ryan.
always
Perfect. Yeah. With all the
everyone
info.
knows you, so I don't have no problem with that. And me and Jules are just here. She's for the looks, and I'm just here to have the
I'm
banner.
just for the looks. Wow.
Wow.
I didn't say just for the looks.
I think he said just for the looks, Julie. I think I heard
That's what I heard.
I'll rewind the tape. Rewind the tape. Rewind the tape.
Howie and Julie, are you going to the Newark show Monday night?
Nope.
The Prudential Center?
The which one?
Newark
Bruce show.
Monday.
Bruce show Monday.
No. We're going to
He's
the
from Jersey. He pronounces it like Lauren. Newark. Newark.
Newark. That's what it is, Newark. I worked there for 19 years. Newark.
we're gonna go to MSG 1,
Right.
and we're gonna go to my hometown, Brooklyn, which I always love to go see those shows.
Are you going to Brooklyn, you guys? Either
I
of you?
am, yeah. There were 2 great seats right on the side of the stage. A little bit of money, but I couldn't resist.
If they're
I
good.
wasn't planning on it, but I was like, God damn. So as my friend who I invited goes, that's where Paul McCartney would sit if he's going to the show. I couldn't believe they were there. The blue dots. They were right on the side of
Wow.
the stage, second row on the aisle. I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
Stan, I heard a rumor, Stan, that you got those tickets from Paul McCartney. I heard a rumor. Like, I don't know where that came from, but I heard a rumor.
Let's give a scoop. I believe, Ryan, you will be at the Newark show, Newark Prudential Center's Monday
I will.
night. And you might be streaming the show.
Ooh.
Yes. I think Mr. Frangipane will be there, so he and
Very
I usually
nice.
try to coordinate. But yeah, we'll have at least. So this is what's happened. We had to stream in Minneapolis, obviously, but then it went to Portland. We had nothing. Like there has been very little streaming on the West Coast. Is always a challenge. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
Nothing from San Francisco, nothing from Portland.
And I
So,
just got to throw this out there. If anybody out there can get me Noah Khan tickets at City Field this summer, I'm plotting to go.
have they put them on sale
Is
yet?
it sold
Yeah,
out?
and I forgot when they went on sale. I twinked out.
Wow,
Is
he's
there-
that big that he's playing baseball stadiums.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Is it sold out, Julie? There's no.
Yeah, it's sold out, and whatever's on StubHub is insane. I mean,
Well, be patient, just like Bruce's
Yeah.
PC show.
Drop.
'Cause the stadium, they'll be dropped. God, hey, Newark has great tickets available. Some of you have looked. My God, like there were front row behind the stage available.
wow, really?
Yeah, Newark has had quite a few. MSG is still very, very tough. Like I said, Brooklyn popped up. I was like, whoa. UBS is going to be pretty easy too, I think. The arena at Belmont Park.
Yeah, and apparently the Florida shows have lots of tickets. also.
Yeah. And San Francisco was very tough. They never dropped much of anything. I was monitoring that.
Wow.
Nothing. So that whereas LA had a lot of tickets.
Stan, that
Right.
concerns me because I'm waiting for a drop for Chicago, but if they didn't drop in San Francisco, like Chicago's a tough ticket right now. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
Chicago's tough.
You
Boston is
don't
tough.
have a ticket yet, Ryan?
I have 2 tickets, but they're not great. I would like to, if there's a drop, which I got for Minneapolis, I'd really like to be behind the stage again. But I'm in the building, so I can't complain. But
Mhm.
if I can get something better, great.
You can
Taking my
complain. You
taking
can
my daughter.
complain here. We
Yeah.
take all.
Patient. A lot of it's patience, but like I said, yeah, a lot of it's patience. But like I said, San Francisco didn't drop at all. You know,
That's
it's hard-
weird. Why is that? What do you?
I don't know that it just sold well, or they just sold everything. I don't know. Where
wonder
LA
if
had a ton of tickets available.
Well, it
Yeah.
was one night in San Francisco. It was
Yeah.
2 nights in LA, maybe.
Yeah. So I have a new award. My old age starkiness. When someone's streaming now, there's certain people who love to tag everybody. You know, Ryan Hilligoss, Howie Chaz, Julie Chaz, and they just put one name after another, after another, after another, after another. And I know they're trying to do good, like here's a stream, but at the same time, it's like when you're watching the stream, it's like stop. So I call it the Paul Revere Award. I'm giving out a Paul Revere Award. You know,
The British are coming. The British are coming.
Somebody's streaming. Somebody's streaming. Let me tell 300 people. So call it the Paul Revere Award. So
You should see how many people try to get posts through. Is anyone streaming? Is anyone streaming? Is anyone streaming?
you know, it's like Pete Mamone says, here's what I do. I put something up on Spring Notes. Hey, so-and-so is live. Go look.
Right.
Instead of tagging and then there's certain people who keep tagging. It's like the same names over. Ryan has been tagged 4 times already. Okay.
And Ryan is sleeping, so I'm not
Yes.
seeing it.
So, but the Paul Revere Award, I'm going to give that out.
That's a good name for it.
So,
All right. Well,
All right.
so Howie and Julie, I guess I'll see you Sunday at the Dobkin show if I don't see you at the Clinch.
are you
Yeah.
coming to Rachel's show?
Right.
Alexandra's show?
Yeah,
Yeah,
why
we-
wouldn't
yeah,
we be at that?
I'm just asking. I hope you would be. She'll be very excited to see you.
I
No.
can't wait. I'm excited.
Yeah, she arrives Thursday. So we're seeing
Amazing.
Melissa Etheridge Friday night in Red Bank.
She didn't make the most of that. You just didn't make the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. I think they made the they made the final cut.
Yeah, they announced it. Yeah.
So Melissa Etheridge didn't make it, but
She did not make it, no.
Oasis made it, which
Yeah.
they're one
Phil
of my favorite
Collins.
bands. Phil Collins definitely deserves to be in it,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was happy. No offense to anybody out there, but I'm just sorry. New Edition should not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I am okay. I'm sorry. When I saw the fan and they were number one, I'm like, this is a travesty. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, there's no way that New Edition beats out Phil Collins and Oasis and Melissa Etheridge and Pink and anybody else that was on that list.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question for everybody and for you guys. How do you feel about artists being in twice? Like they're in a group, and then they're in as in the Beatles, obviously, like all four members of the Beatles are in. What are your thoughts on people being in twice, both as a group and as a individual?
Paul McCartney is, yeah.
But
So,
but they should be, because like, it's two bodies of work, right? I mean, we're talking about like someone like, Wings or even Paul McCartney solo. His solo work is great, and the Beatles stuff is great. And then if you have Phil Collins and Genesis, they're both two different things. I mean, I would
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it
I
either.
think Eric Clapton's in 3 different times, so.
Okay, so you can vote now. You can vote for. Okay, so the nominees are the Black
It's-
Crowes.
It's
Yes,
already
Buckley.
done. It's already
Oh,
done.
it's
They
done.
announced
I'm
it.
sorry.
They
Sorry.
announced it yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's the vote now button is still up. That's why it's still like a live thing.
Oh,
That's why
Unless they have an extra bonus one, so.
the Black Crows, Jeff. Okay,
Yep.
for
Yeah,
so for
Jessica,
the
that's a good one. Graham Nash, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, the Hollies. Yep.
okay, so for you guys here, the four of you and those at home, give me 5. The
I
Black
voted.
Crows.
I actually
Oh.
voted. I did. I voted.
Who do you
multiple
think? Who do you think should be in?
Phil Collins for sure.
Yes.
Oasis, just personal favorite of mine. Even I know it's not a popular thing, but I do think they, especially with what they did last year, I thought that was my favorite concert of the year. I also voted for who was the other choices? I'm sorry, not
Billy Idol was one who got in.
Billy Idol.
Okay.
I voted for too.
Melissa Etheridge.
I don't think I voted for her because I think there was other.
NXS.
Who? Oh, I did.
NXS.
I think I did vote for NXS, but they didn't make it. NXS didn't make it.
Like this is bizarre to me. Like I love Pink, but like I don't think she belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the fact that she's been out for 25 years already is blowing my mind right now.
Oh,
Wow.
you know what? I gotta tell you, she's one of the greatest female performers out there.
Oh, absolutely. The whole live wire act with the
Yeah.
wires and
Yeah.
singing, that's phenomenal. But
She's gonna play the Sphere next year, and I want to go to that.
Ooh.
I would want to go to that too. I mean, because she's definitely one of the best female performers out there. I don't think I may have voted for her. I know I only voted for 5,
I'm
but
sure you did.
Luther Vandross got in too.
yeah, I didn't vote for him. But I mean, he
You're in
deserves it. He deserves it.
Yeah.
He deserves it. I'm not saying he deserves it, but I knew but he made it, right? Luther made it.
Yeah,
in.
Luther made it.
No,
So,
Barbie, I said I like Pink. I was just questioning whether she belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, especially over these other people. You know who's an outrage that isn't in the Hall of Fame?
Who?
Absolute outrage.
Pauline Love.
Weird Al Yankovic.
Okay.
Oh, I kid.
God, Ryan.
Yeah, Phil Collins definitely deserved to get in, and I thought more than anybody on that list.
Amir, a good one. Tony Joe White. Yeah, there's some people out there that will never even get nominated, like Tony Joe White. Like, absolutely. Agree
I
with
know I'm
that.
gonna get crucified for this, but I don't even know who he is. Sorry.
Well, he wrote Polk Salad Annie, which is like a big hit for Elvis. He's written a lot of stuff that you wouldn't know him as a
Right, yeah.
performer, but you'd know him as a songwriter.
Okay.
Lonnie Donegan. Oh my God. Norm is always the kidder here. Lonnie Donegan. Why? For what is it? What is the song that Bruce talks about? My gum lost
Something
its
with the bubble
flavor.
gum. Yeah.
My gum lost its flavor on the bedpost overnight. That was one of
I was watching the
Bruce's-
Judy Garland movie with Renee Zellweger that's been on HBO, and Lonnie Donegar's in. Well, someone who plays Lonnie Donegar is in that. So, I only know him from Bruce.
Yes, Jessica. Warren Zevon should have been in 20 years ago,
Yeah.
but finally he got in.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All
anything else we got to talk about before
Howie,
we...
what time's your announcement tomorrow? I know you posted it.
12 o'clock.
All right.
Howie, serious
Huh.
question.
Go ahead.
I have at least 50 hats. Why do I not have? Where do I get a spring nut hat? Huh?
Oh, Lord.
Consider it done.
Boom. Sunday.
This
Bring me a
Sunday.
spring nut hat,
You
please.
consider it done. It'll be my pleasure to give
Oh,
it
I'm
to
so happy you're coming, Ryan.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
going American Music Honors, Ryan.
you.
Yay.
You know what? I mean, we're gonna do this at the Serenade anyway because I already told Connie. But we also need to get a official Spring Nut Cafe photo.
Group shot. Group shot.
Yes,
Yeah.
a group shot.
Sounds
Absolutely.
great.
We're your
Ryan,
finest.
You need to get an apartment in
I
Joyce.
know. I seriously, it's I'm kind of in a transition period in my life. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here, where I could go. Definitely. It's at the top of my list.
When we get an official Spring Nut Cafe studio and we bring guests in, on in person, you're gonna have to be here. So
This is what we do. We get sponsorships. We buy a house in Asbury, very close to the Pony.
Yeah.
We've got a house. We can do this. We can have a studio there.
Have a
It's like,
reality show like Jersey Shore.
oh
Dude,
my
I'm
God.
so up for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can live with you guys. To be honest, with you. But I can definitely have once or twice a week. But I don't know if I can live with you guys.
All right,
There's
all right. What about the tiny house community where everybody gets their own little house,
I like it. I
and
like
then we
it.
have like a clubhouse?
I love it.
All right.
Carrie,
Tenny's Land.
is
We need
Carrie
to-
Clancy is Carrie Clancy Walton coming Sunday?
Yes, yeah. What time? If you're talking about Alexandra's show, that's 4 o'clock.
4
You
o'clock
don't need
Eastern.
tickets for that. They just ask for a donation at the door, which goes directly. That's the other thing too. They take no money. They give all the money that's collected right to the artist. So they don't take a cut at all. They
That's
just
good.
very nice of them. So, but I'd get there about 3:30. She usually draws a good crowd, and there's probably, I don't know, 60 seats. Maybe that's too many, 50. And they usually fill up pretty quick, but there's a lot of standing room too. So
Lisa has a great idea. Spring Nuts should buy a house in Asbury, and we have like a B&B for Spring Nuts.
I can retire and run it. I like
Yes.
this. I like this a lot.
Lisa, great idea.
and
Little pink houses, Jeff. Little pink houses for you and me, buddy.
Alexandra does not have an opening act this time. The last 2 times she played, she did. So
All right,
this is
excellent.
just her.
Carrie's coming.
Awesome.
Yes, good.
Spring Nuts
That's-
forever.
Cool.
And yeah, we're getting excuse me, Asbury and Jersey and whatever's going to be a big month in
Yeah. We're gonna be exhausted by June 7th.
yeah, exactly.
I'm already tired.
Yeah, me too. So
Seriously,
I want
I
to watch
was-
the end of the Yankee game. So
All right,
Oh,
Stan.
yeah,
Yeah.
and listen, we have to be careful on scheduling any these things on the Nick playoff games, by the
yeah,
way. Okay.
yes.
I'm not the same person. I'm
Wait.
very stressed out during those days.
When do the
understand.
playoffs start? When do the playoffs start? Soon or?
Play tonight, but the Knicks don't play to what, Friday? Is it?
Yeah,
The first game?
Friday. I hope.
Yeah, Atlanta. Yeah, they got played in Atlanta.
I know
And
they play.
no, they don't know about the Madison Square Garden dates yet. That's still they ask.
And I'm going on record saying, that I am in favor of the Knicks going as far as they can, and I don't care if Bruce switches 10 of his shows for that.
Oh shit, Howie, you're gonna be in deep
I
crap
don't-
now, buddy.
I've been waiting.
You better hope that it doesn't get switched to Shabbat. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Oh,
Knicks is Saturday, Norm. Okay, great. That's
This Saturday.
yes, that's good. Okay, so
Right.
yeah, I'm a Nick. I've been waiting all my life for a Nick championship. So
okay. Seriously, for Stan and Howie, what is your prediction on how far they get in the playoffs this
I
year?
don't know. You could ask me this in the beginning of the year, and I would have said differently. But right now,
It's going to be hard for them to get to the finals. They'll probably get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But
Eastern Conference. Wow, you're better than me because
well, yeah, but then they'll play Boston or Detroit or somebody like that. So, but we'll see. Hey, Dolan wants a championship. Will they get it? I don't know if they're that
I
good.
will say, well, I'll go as far as this. I think they do get out of the first round. I think if they do beat Boston in the second round, okay, then they're going to the championship. If they beat Boston. If they don't beat Boston, there's nothing to talk about. And I'm not going to be doing cafes for a while. I'm going to have to, because I'm going to be very pissed off.
He really turns into another person when he.
And if Knicks win it all, Howie's treating everybody
Damn straight.
to
It'll be the
we'll figure
greatest
something
serenade
out.
you've ever seen. I'll be freaking.
Yeah.
I'll be drunk as a skunk.
Yeah. All right, I gotta.
All right.
I'll
All right,
see.
guys.
Good night, everyone.
Adios.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right,
Guys,
guys.
Out.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks for
Thanks,
sticking around.
Bye.
Tomorrow, the big announcement.
12 o'clock, you said, Howie?
Yeah.
And it'll be whatever's happening, like all the details will be.
All the detail. Well, 90. Well, the main details that everyone's going to need to know
Okay.
is going to be tomorrow. But what they need to move forward with, we'll know. Everything will be revealed tomorrow, 12
Got
o'clock.
it. I just didn't know if you were going to do an announcement and then details later, or
No,
it was going to
It's
be.
going to be. I mean, the majority of the details will be there. The finer notes will come a little after, but it's not important in the sense of making your plans. Let's put it that way.
All right, everybody tune in.
All right,
Fingers
guys. Have a
crossed.
great
All right.
night.
Have a great, everybody watching at home. Thank you for joining us. This has been fun. Danny Clinch was fantastic.
Really great.
Panel
guy.
was fantastic as usual. So everybody have a good night.
Thanks, Rye.
Have a good night.
See you Sunday.
Yes, ma'am. Adios, muchachos. Adios. That light is blinding me. Blinded by the light. Wrapped up like a deuce and a runner in the night. Blinded by the light. That is really dark. All right. Oh, sorry. I am out. Adios.